Hi guys, it's Thomas here from COTBase.com. Welcome to our weekly COT review. Today we're going to be analyzing the 21st Commitments of Traders report of 2024, and as we always do, we shall start off by looking at the largest changes in commercials net positions. But before we jump to the review, just a brief reminder for those who are new to COT analysis. Here at COTBase.com, you'll find a lot of educational material. Not only do we have these in written format, but we have some very useful videos as well that can guide you through the analysis process. And of course, if you have further questions, feel free to comment underneath the video or send us an email to info@cotbase.com. So let's get started. As you can see, we have the natural gas on top of our list. We are of course analyzing net positions, the classic or so-called legacy CO2 report type, futures and options combined data. So natural gas is on top of our list. By the way, we're going to be looking at mainly currencies in this review. You're going to see in a moment. But natural gas is our first market. Here we have a 28% change in commercials net positions. This is a change size that is larger than average. You can see on this 1-year chart. It's a bit larger. It is a bearish COT change signal, suggesting some weakness coming in the next few days. But you can see that there is a decent rally going on in the market since February of this year, which, by the way, was well signaled by a COT extreme. As you can see, this extreme, which wasn't the largest, you can see on the 5-year chart, we have seen greater changes in the, greater extremes in the past, but it was large enough to put an end to this decline, and you can see that the market has gone higher from those levels. And of course, we're not surprised to see traders moving away from those extremes as the market is headed to higher prices. The next market is going to be the Australian dollar with a 27% change in commercials net positions. You can see the change size over there. Once again, we're talking about a larger than average change size. It is bearish. However, this week we have seen the Australian dollar lose value against, of course, these futures contracts are measured in US dollars, so it has lost value against the US dollar. Jumping to a 5-year chart, you can see that the current traders net position value, so commercials being at 50,000 contracts net long, large speculators almost 50,000 contracts net short 51, and of course you can see small speculators relatively neutral in the market, so not really long or short, they're more or less in between. We're not really talking about an extreme situation at the moment, so it's really, I'd say, nothing really that can be useful for us in the Australian dollar regarding the commitments of traders analysis. So we either like to see a significant change that is happening while the market has not yet reacted. Of course, let's not forget that we are talking about a report that's issued on Friday, but it's actually showing us a Tuesday's picture. So if you look here, what would have happened if we saw this change signal just over here, right? You can see just the next day there was a decent drop and a drop afterwards. So yeah, sometimes these change signals can be a little bit late for us to act upon, and I think that's the case with the Australian dollar as we're speaking. Moving on to the New Zealand dollar, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see a very similar picture as these currencies do correlate. However, change signal here is greater. Yeah, you know what? The picture isn't that similar, because here we have seen the New Zealand dollar keep up its strength against the US dollar, not as what we saw in the case of Australian dollar. The magnitude of the change in traders' net positions is greater. I'd say top 3. You could see something similar over here. So in this case, you can see the report being issued around here, just preceding this top, a larger than average bearish change signal. And that's kind of the case right now. So we'll see what happens to the New Zealand dollar. And moving to a 5-year chart, you can see if there is any stress level worth mentioning. And the answer is no. There's not really a COT extreme to talk about. So if you want to look for COT extreme signals, then I think what we can do, usually we looked at large speculator COT extreme, but I would advise moving to COT index just to practice this a little bit as well. So let's turn that on. I switched to 5 years, and we're going to look at COT index in commercials. There we go, and you can see we have 100% COT index in the Canadian dollar. So if we open the chart, you can see that commercials, actually large speculators too, are at an extreme, a very large COT extreme. Commercials almost at roughly 100,000 contracts net long, and of course as small speculators are at net zero, and being a zero-sum game, we're not surprised to see large speculators at 100,000 contracts net short. So it's a significant bullish COT extreme in the Canadian dollar, suggesting strengthening in the next couple of weeks, month ahead of us. And I will show you something, a feature that I think is very, very useful. So of course, this is the Canadian dollar measured in US dollar. But if you trade the more popular currency pair, the US dollar, Canadian dollar currency pair, you can actually shift the COT charts underneath. So you can actually look at it this way. And you can see that this is a bearish COT extreme if we talk about it this way. And I think a good supplemental tool to use besides classic COT analysis is our own wonderful iCOT Intraday Indicator. This one is with AfterSignal, helping you identify when to enter and exit the market. So this is actually US dollar, Canadian dollar currency pair on a daily candlestick chart, okay? And I think even though it's an intraday indicator, and I'll jump back over here for a second and show you our indicators. So iCOT standing for intraday COT indicator. However, it's not really using data from the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, so it's not that data. It is our own reverse engineered COT data, and we created this after many, many years of research, by the way. I should point out that it is a huge, huge success that we're very, very proud of. So it is mimicking the tools and ways of analyzing. So we're talking about extremes, and you can see that when we can call them the green line speculators. However, this is actually our scores chart. When the green line speculators are at an extreme, you see the coloring of the candle change to blue. When the red line commercial is at an extreme, then we get this yellow diamond above the candlestick if it's a bearish signal, or below the candlestick if it's a bullish signal. And if both of these lines are at an extreme, we actually get these vertical, we call them stripe signals, which are the strongest signals in the tool set. So I'm going to jump back to the TradingView platform here, and you can see for yourself how well these stripe signals, we only have bearish stripe signals, preceded these tops in the market, from where you can see this currency pair dropping. And by the way, it does actually catch very successfully the buying opportunities as well. So this is the US dollar Canadian dollar currency pair on a daily candlestick chart. But we can go down into a 1 hour time frame. You can see how effective it is on shorter time frames, catching tops, catching bottoms, tops, bottoms, bottoms. And this signal is just amazing to see. Really great sell signal over there. You could take it down, as short time frames as you wish. Of course, you need some liquidity and volume, but this is the 5-minute candlestick chart. So a lot of success can happen using the two tools in conjunction. So classic COT analysis and using our own iCOT intraday indicator. Moving on to our next market, the Euro British Pound currency futures. Here we have a 97% COT index which of course correlates with what we see on the chart here. So it's a bullish COT extreme in the Euro British Pound currency futures. But it's advisable to look at these currencies separately. So analyzing the Euro and then analyzing the British Pound will actually give you a more straightforward analysis result, because they have much greater volumes than the Euro British Pound futures in itself. And by the way, it doesn't have such a long history of COT data either. So that's another point you should keep in mind. Our last market for the week for the review is the Swiss franc with a 92% COT index in commercials. And of course, 3% can be seen here in large speculators. So once again, a bullish extreme is witnessed here in the Swiss franc. We have had this for quite some time now. It seems as if it has not really taken its effect, and the Swiss franc is unable to start rallying. It may actually cross this support line over here, in which case I would expect traders moving to even greater extremes. And on this 5-year chart, or pardon me, all-time chart, you can see that there's actually space left for the Swiss franc to reach greater extremes. So we're not at those all-time COT extremes yet. Now, of course, if you're analyzing other markets, feel free to check us out, because we do offer a bunch of markets, really all the markets that are available. You can find here at cotbase.com. And by the way, if you're analyzing a specific market and you want to really go dig into the report, you can actually do that. We talked about the Canadian dollar. This is the Canadian dollar COT report. You got futures only, futures on options, and our own options only data set as well. You can chart everything. So commercials, net position, of course, that's on the chart, but you can actually do that over here. You're only interested in futures. There you go. That's going to be the futures. You're only interested in options. That's the options data. So a lot of great tools at cotbase.com. And if you have suggestions, you want to see some other tools, then please feel free to reach out and let us know. Thank you so much for your attention, by the way, and I do appreciate you being with me. If you've enjoyed the review, could you please just give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't yet, then subscribe to our YouTube channel. It does mean a lot. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you guys a wonderful weekend. I hope to see you in my next COT review. Take care, and goodbye.